Cardiologist at Medwin Hospital. And
You must have seen in the last few months, everyone is talking about non-communicable diseases. If you really analyze, 60% of all global deaths are because of non-communicable diseases. And at one time, we used to think in India, malnutrition, infections, and maternity related problems are more than the non communicable diseases. But the reality is, even in countries like India, non communicable diseases are causing more deaths than the communicable diseases. You may ask me, what are these non communicable diseases? There are four: cardiovascular deaths, cancers, diabetes, and chronic lung problems. These four constitute the chronic diseases, also called the non communicable diseases. As I said before, 80% of these non communicable diseases are occurring in the low and middle income countries. When I say low and middle income countries, most of the African countries come in the low income countries. India is classified by WHO as a LMIC, low and middle income country. So the important message is 60% of all global deaths are because of NCDs, and 80% of them happen in this country. And as I said before, four groups of diseases constitute the NCDs. Surprisingly, to prevent these NCDs, you need to do the same thing as my previous two speakers have said, Sarath and Dr. Sunil. No smoking or no tobacco in any form, including chewing tobacco, and exercise every day, eating healthy diet, and less alcohol. These four things can prevent the total NCDs, not just cardiovascular problems. You can prevent cancers, you can prevent cardiovascular problems, you can prevent lung problems, you can prevent diabetes. So four diseases constitute NCDs. Four preventive measures can prevent 80% of the NCDs. And for the second time in the history of the United Nations, a United Nations General Assembly was called for, I think all of you are aware, on September 19th and 20th, a week ago. 34 prime ministers and presidents attended, and they have declared NCDs as a global emergency. This is the first time the first time the United Nations General Assembly met was to declare HIV as a global emergency 15 years ago. This is the second time in the history of the United Nations General Assembly is being called for. And more prime ministers and presidents attended this General Assembly to declare NCDs as a global emergency than even the first United Nations General Assembly. So for countries like India, we have a double burden. We still have the infectious problems, the tuberculosis, malaria, HIV. We still have the malnutrition, but we still have the major epidemic in the making, the NCDs. So we have a double burden. So it is the responsibility of the healthcare workers to aggressively work on this NCD community. One strong message I want to give: this NCDs cannot be prevented by health department alone. These NCDs cannot be prevented by doctors alone. It needs a multi-sectoral collaboration. Various departments, in fact, the WHO used the word called whole of government approach. Whether it's the Department of Agriculture, Department of Revenue, Department of Transportation, all these departments may come. For example, you may ask me why Department of Agriculture is concerned with CVD prevention or NCD prevention. Agriculture department, for example, if they give a wrong subsidy for growing unhealthy food, you are indirectly contributing to a cardiovascular epidemic. So the various departments can control. For example, the revenue, by heavily taxing tobacco products, doubling than what we have, you can reduce the consumption. So I think we need a policy approach to prevent NCDs, to prevent cardiovascular problems. We need a whole of government approach. We need a multi-sectoral collaboration to prevent. Having said that, the World Heart Federation has given a slogan: one world, one family, one home. Fine, its government has to do something, but we cannot just leave it to the government for policies to take action. All of us should take a proactive action to prevent cardiovascular disease. And that's the reason the World Heart Federation has given this new slogan for this year. Thank you.
important